2.5 hours southeast of Atlanta sits the small town of Wrightsville, Georgia. In the fall of 1979, this field became one of the most watched fields in the country. It was Herschel Walker's senior year. It was Easter 1980 that he chose the University of Georgia, and in his freshman year, went on to lead them to a national championship. From there, he went on to a successful career as a pro, competed in the Olympic Games, and fought in mixed martial arts, and now owns several businesses. And on top of all that, he's a car guy. So I can't wait to catch up with him, check out his cars, and grab a bite to eat as Dinner Drive comes to Georgia. I'm Kyle Petty, race car driver, musician, speed enthusiast. I know where I found my passions in life, but I'm always curious about where others found theirs. And I've figured out over the years, the best way to get to know someone better is over a little food. So I'm hitting the road to catch up with some friends to hear their life stories, and you're invited. So pull up a seat and join us for this edition of Dinner Drive. There he is. Hey, man.
Hey there.
How have you been?
How you doing?
Long time no see, dude.
I know.
Been a long time since a motorcycle ride.
I know. How you been?
I've been good. I've been good. You look good.
Well, I'm trying. I'm still working out.
You look good, man.
I'm working at it.
I can't. What have you been up to?
Just hanging out, trying to sell chicken. Trying to sell a little bit of chicken.
That's
Staying
good,
out
man.
of trouble.
Is this where you grew up? Is this the property you grew up on?
This is. It has changed a little bit, but this is the exact property I grew up on. You know, we've changed the house a little bit. We made this a little bit of little guest house. Whenever I come home, I can stay up here. But you know, we used to have not as many trees. We can get out and run around. So we were all these bad kids. The trees are still here that I used to climb. So I still can climb a couple of trees and stuff.
I come through Wrightsville.
Yes.
But if I didn't know better, I would think it was Walkerville. Because every sign says something about Herschel Walker. How does that make you feel when you come back to your hometown?
It makes me proud, but you know, I say that, you know, Wrightsville is what really made me who I am, because there are a lot of good people. There's a lot of good people supported me, and today I tell people this: if something happened to me in California and I called the town of Wrightsville, I need help, probably every last one of them would get on a bicycle and start riding to California. They're gonna do whatever they can, and that's the way it is with everybody.
I know you like motorcycles because you've been on the Kyle Petty charity ride for, what, 15, 16 years. I know you're a car guy, too.
Yes.
Where did the fascination and the love of cars come from?
I think when I was in high school, I started liking cars. I love to go fast. I was like Ricky Bobby. Hey, I want to go fast and stuff, and so that's where I got into cars.
I think you're probably a little bit better than Ricky Bobby.
Well, probably a little bit.
Just a touch. Yeah. So that's what this show's all about.
Yes.
It's about cars and people. We go back a little ways, but I've never seen any of your cars. You got any around here you can show me?
Well, I can show you a couple of things. You know, I got a few things I can show you.
I can't wait, man.
Yes,
This is going to
be good.
Let's go. I'll follow you. Oh, man. Yeah, you said you had a few cars. You do have a few cars. These are like, this is nice, man.
Yeah, no, just a couple.
Just a couple.
Just a couple. Yeah, just a few. Just a few. Now, this one is kind of interesting, but I'm going to give you a lot of credit for this one. Because, I'm going to give you some credit. You don't realize this, but, you know, I've always wanted a GTO. I always wanted one, but I thought I couldn't afford one. And I happened to be on the Kyle Petty charity ride.
No way.
Yeah, on the Kyle Petty charity ride, there was a guy on the ride by the name of Jerry. And he told me he had a GTO, and I'm like, oh man, he told me about this one right here.
No way.
This is it. The Mini Cooper has a story as well, because, you know, I wanted a car to drive to the airport. You know, some of my cars are nice, and I didn't want to drive them to the airport, so I said, oh man, let me get a Mini Cooper. Well, when I got the Mini Cooper, I go, oh man, that don't look too cool there. Let me dress it up. So I dressed it up and stuff. Then I said, oh man, that looked too nice to drive to the airport. I ain't gonna drive to the airport. So I decided I didn't want to do that.
I want to know if the car that you drove when you were in high school is sitting out here. Now, don't point it out to me. I'm gonna guess it. I'm gonna guess it. Is it here?
It's here.
It is.
You know
it's here.
Yes.
Yeah. So if I had to look at all these cars that you have.
Well, you're going to be very intelligent. Well, you know I couldn't afford some things. But anyway.
Okay, I'm gonna say the orange car.
Boy, I wish I did drive that to high school. That would have been, no, I would have gotten in a lot of trouble if I drove that to high school. No, it had to be this other.
Okay.
This is my
so
baby. This is Harry. This is Harry here. You know, he got a name. You know, when I give something a name.
This car's got a name?
Yeah, Harry. I don't get rid of something. When I give you a name, you're gonna stay.
So tell me about this car and how you ended up with
Well,
this car.
you know, it's so funny. When I was in high school, my senior year, because you know I was working at the mechanic shop. This was in the showroom, and I remember looking over and I saw it. And I go, wow, that is beautiful. And I stopped right on the street, and I ran in there just to look at this car, and I go, wow, that is real nice. And I said, I can never get nothing like that. And I went on to the shop, and I remember going home, telling my mom and dad about it and stuff. And I told them about it, and within a week, next thing I knew is they took a second mortgage out on their house.
Oh, no way.
They did. They took a second mortgage out on their house, and they bought me this car here, and I was so excited. But, you know, I was so proud that they did that. Yeah. And it still sort of make me teary-eyed. But I tell you, when you clean him up, like he shines, man.
All right.
And he's like a brand new suit.
So can you show me around
I can
town
show you
in this
around
car?
town. Yeah, Harry loved to do that.
All right, you jump in.
All right, then.
I'm not going to ask to drive Harry. I'm gonna let you drive.
No. Hardly nobody don't drive Harry but me.
Man, this takes me back to high school.
I really wanted to be a Marine. And my mom said, Bo, don't you think it's time for you to decide whether you want to go to college at?
Friendliest town in Georgia. I got to tell you, I'm excited to be taking a tour of Wrightsville, but I noticed the railroad tracks here. Are these the famous railroad tracks where you race the train? Tell me some of that story.
This is a famous railroad track. I was overweight, and I got beat up the last day of school in 8th grade. Yeah. And I tell people today, I didn't just get beat up, but he woke me up, because that's the day I stopped feeling sorry for myself and started working out and started doing all those crazy amounts of push-ups, sit-ups, running the track.
So you worked at a gas station.
I worked at a gas station,
gas station, right?
gas station.
Oh, right here on the corner, man.
Yeah, right here on the corner.
You're going to take me to the football field and show me where it all began.
Where it all began.
Where it all started. So this is where it all started, right here on this field.
Yes. This is it. The field that people come to get beat.
That's a good way to put it.
Yes.
All right, so you're considered one of the greatest football players of all time. Your name is always at the top of that discussion, but it wasn't always that way. And you talked earlier about getting beat up that last day of school and how that changed you. When did you decide, this is what I'm going to do? I'm going to play some sports.
I had a high school coach by the name of Tom Jordan. He used to come pick me up after church on Sunday. And we would come out here to this track, and he had a dirt track, and he would tie this tire around my waist, put a 10-pound shot in it, and I used to have to pull it around this track. And he was working on my technique and form. I didn't know what he was doing. Today, the people use the parachute, but having him to make me believe in myself. And I think that's what I think most kids got to do. They got to start believing in themselves.
How much did your parents help you through that time? You know, because it was not only you were changing physically, but you were changing emotionally too, because you were coming out of that shell.
You know, I watched them go to work every day, but I've never once heard my mom and dad complain about anything. And one thing that was very special to me is no matter whatever happened, the kids could be outside playing. And when my parents came home, they would take the time to go out and play whatever we were doing. Yeah. And I said that made me love them and love what they were doing and stuff. Even though, you know, I got a spanking. And I used to, geez, I didn't like that too hot. But I said, today I look back. And I said, I couldn't ask to be a better parents than what I had. And I even said this to my son today. I said, if I can be a dad to you like my dad was to me, I've done a good job.
What does sports teach you or instill in you that you've carried?
Well, it taught me sort of, as you just said, teamwork, how to work together. And it taught me how to work with people outside of that, within a company. You got to have people that believe in one goal. When you have a company or have a team, you got to believe in one thing. You can't have everybody believe it in something different, because it's never going to work. Yeah. And I learned that a long time ago. And being here in Johnson County was the first thing to teach me that.
So you put in all this hard work here on this football field. How many people would come to a game on a Friday night?
Well, my senior year, we had, you know, the town has about 2,500. The whole county probably about 7,000. So we used to have about 5,000 people every home game.
Okay.
And it was packed. There was standing room. Nobody couldn't even get in here. It was packed almost every Friday night.
You are the most recruited college football player, probably of all time. So I'm fascinated by the fact that you could have gone anywhere you wanted to go, but you decided to go just up the highway here to the University of Georgia. Are you just tied to this state? I mean, why the University of Georgia? Connect me to that.
This is going to be really wild. I didn't want to go to the University of Georgia. I was going to the military. You know, even though I was valedictorian in my class, I was a good athlete, I really wanted to be a Marine. Flipped the coin between Clemson and Georgia, and Georgia ended up winning. Then I flipped between USC and Georgia. Georgia ended up winning. I ended up pulling the names out of a bag. Georgia ended up winning at that time. And this is the honest truth. And I said, I'm going to Georgia, and I didn't mean it. I went outside to play with my younger brother, Lorenzo, and they called up Coach Doolittle and all the reporters and told them that I said I was going to Georgia, And everyone that night, that afternoon, showed up at my home. And I was too embarrassed to tell them I was just joking about this. That I signed to go to the University of Georgia and I didn't want to go. But that just tells you right there that I also was taught, as I said early on, no matter what you do it at your hardest. You know, I wanted to go to the military, but I now was at the University of Georgia, so I had to work.
3 years after that, and you're standing on a stage accepting the Heisman Trophy. What did it mean in that moment? But this time later, what does it mean to you now?
So when I was nominated for the Heisman, I didn't know what it meant. But then as I learned more and more my freshman year about it, I said, wow, that's a big time award. I'm from Wrightsville, Georgia. I'm from this little town right here. You know, I've worked extremely hard. People have helped me so much. And to bring a Heisman Trophy to this little town and to my home, you know, it just meant that the hard work that we did is paying off. But then you look back at the team, like what do they get? You know, the school would get a trophy, but look at my offensive line. What do they get? Yeah. And stuff, so it's humbling.
Yeah. So 15 years as a pro in professional football, between the USFL and NFL, one of the most prolific offensive players of all time. As you look at that body of work collectively, what are you most proud of?
You know, I left home with parents that taught me discipline, they taught me right from wrong. Then I go into a place with a team that the coaches was the same way, and they helped to make me a better man. So I think that's what I was really proud of, being able to be under some great coaches that made me a better man, and then meeting some great players that was absolutely incredible players. You know, I got a chance to play with someone named Randy White. You know, that name like Randy White, man, that's a big time. Ed Too Tall Jones, man, Randall Cunningham. You know, one of the best players I think I can ever play with, Reggie White, man. I got a chance to play with people like that. And, you know, from this little town, whoever, you know, you read about that. Those are like stories you read about.
All this talk about all this work and all your focus has really made me hungry. So what are we going to do about dinner? Because I'm getting a little hungry.
I mean, I got something for you. I got a good dinner here, very nutritious. You know, just to get it for you, you know. We send our young men and women to these countries to protect this country. It's the greatest country in the world, and we don't know what happened to them. Well, I do. I got a Coke. You know, Coke is good for you. You know, give you energy. And something special now. Everyone don't get that. That is very special. That's one of the Hershel Walker diets and stuff. So that'll keep you going. And when you bite into that honey bun, you're gonna go, wow.
That's pretty good.
The honey bun is very good. Oh, you never had a honey bun?
Have I never had a honey bun? Look at this body. Look at this body. What do you mean if I never had a honey bun? This is pretty good, I gotta admit. How do you get by on this diet?
I ate one meal a day ever since I was in junior and high school.
Oh, no way.
I didn't eat meat. I just ate what I wanted to eat. I never worried about it, never thought about it, and I've been fine. And every nutritionist or every doctor in the world want to test me, and I'm like, I'm fine, I'm healthy.
Yeah.
So I don't worry about all that stuff. And that's why I tell people out there, quit worrying about stuff all the time.
You're not afraid to move the needle, to move the boundaries, to step outside your comfort zone. If we want to pretend that football was your main comfort zone, then you end up on the bobsled team, on the Olympic team. You talk MMA. And what fascinates me, you competed at the highest level. The Olympics are not something that just goes on in Wrightsville, Georgia. Okay, that's a worldwide stage. MMA, you jumped in, you learned the game, and went to the highest level. What drives you to say, okay, this is what I'm gonna do today? What internally drives that?
I think this hometown here, Wrightsville, Georgia. You know, I have responsibility to all these little kids here to know that I'm gonna try to be my best. That I represent them. I represent every small town in the world. To let kids know when you step out there, you try your best. You bring your A game.
Obviously, I'm a lot younger than you.
Oh, you shouldn't tell everybody.
I'm kidding, I kid. You're busy, you're constantly on the road, you're constantly doing things. What's your workout look like at this stage of life?
I haven't changed my workout that much different. Today, I'm doing about 1,500 push-ups every day. I do about 3,500 sit-ups. You know, with the pandemic, I've been riding an exercise bike or a road bike anywhere from 60 to 100 miles a day. I'm out jogging about 4 miles a day and still training a lot of my martial arts. And I'm not trying to impress anyone with stuff like that, but you know, I work with the military some. I think our servicemen and women are the bravest people in the world. And when I go out to a base, sometimes I'm doing PT or combative and then talking to them about getting help. And most of the young recruit know the name Herschel Walker. They don't know, their parents know me. But when they see me getting out, doing the things they're doing, and they're like, wow, this guy can do all this, they listen to what I gotta say.
There comes that time in every sport where you have to transition to a different phase. How tough was the transition from football?
I went from civilian life right into the business world with a company. So I went right into trying to sell food, and you know, I didn't need anything from anyone, but people treated me, again, like I was bullied when I was a little kid. It was so undisciplined. They treated me with no respect. So like, you need money, so I'm gonna make you work for me, and I'll be there doing stuff for people, and they say, oh, I'm gonna order from you, I'm gonna do this, and they pretend they're gonna order, then they cancel that order later on. They did me like that for almost 3 or 4 years, and I worked it and tried to be nice and stuff, and I mean, it was like insulting. But you know, that's what you have to do. When you go into something new, you give up what you used to do. Whenever you do anything, you gotta start out from the bottom, work your way up. Your kids can't start out at the top thinking you're gonna stay there, because I can tell you what, it's a different sport. I can't jump in a race car and be a driver. I don't know nothing about it and stuff. And I say, everyone think that they can be a professional football player, a professional golfer. Oh, I see him play, I can do that. Yeah, no, well, I want you to try that if you want to.
Once again, head down, do the work, put in the time, and the efforts pay off. You have a company that makes draperies and curtains and stuff for hotels and stuff. You have a promotion company. But Renaissance Man Food, largest minority food company in the country, how did that come about?
And my mom is always making me feel guilty about something, because she said, you know, Bo, you know, when you start a company, it's not about you no more. It's about giving a man a job. You give a man a job, you give him self-worth. So you gotta make this company go. And I'm like, Mom, don't make me feel guilty like crap. I mean, crap of what, the world? And so I figured if I can help someone to have a job, I don't have to put any money in this company. I don't have to try to make any money. All I wanna do is be able to help somebody to have a job so they can feed their family. Because, like I said, look where I'm from. I've been blessed to travel all over the world. I don't have to ever work again in my life.
But you also do so much with the military. It's the Patriot Support Program, and it's to talk to servicemen and women. You've been at over 350 bases worldwide to talk to them about the stigma of mental health.
Yes.
How did you get involved with the military, and why did you feel like that was such an important thing for you to do?
Well, you know, first of all, you know, I mentioned early on, I've always wanted to go to the military, but the Lord took me on a different route. And at the end of my football career, I developed an anger problem. I didn't know what was going on with me. I'm like, what in the world going on with Herschel Walker? And I was diagnosed as having a mental illness. And I'm like, how in the world could Herschel Walker have a mental illness? You know, I'm valedictorian, went and did all this. And I found out that I did. And it stemmed from when I was being bullied as a little kid, that I used anger as a coping mechanism. We send our young men and women to these countries to protect this country. It's the greatest country in the world. And we don't know what happened to them. Well, I do. And some of them can deal with it, some of them can't. And we call them crazy, we call them names. And I just want them to know that there's no shame to ask for help. I did it because, you know, you mean so much to your family, to your friends. And I just want to be able to know that they got a safe place with Herschel Walker.
After football, after business, after everything we've talked about to this stage in your life, to this point, what's next for Herschel Walker?
Politics, you see, is something that's always been interesting to me because I've changed because now I say I owe a responsibility not just to the state of Georgia, but this country. This country has been such a great, great place for me, and I owe a lot to this country.
Thank you, man. God
You're
bless
welcome. You're welcome. I've always been a car guy, but I think you got me into the motorcycles.
All right, man, I knew when I got here that you were a car guy, but you knew I was a motorcycle guy, and I knew you had these things somewhere. And obviously, we do the Cowpatty Charity Ride to raise funds for Victory Junction, a camp that when my oldest son, Adam, was killed, we started for children with chronic illnesses, life-threatening illnesses. How many years you been on the Cowpatty Charity Ride?
Well, I think I've been on the ride for 15 years. And, I've always been a car guy, but I think you got me into the motorcycles. Once I went on the ride once, I went a little crazy on the motorcycle ride. So, and that was the second one I ever ridden on the ride there. And I'm not gonna give you the name because, that's one that I mostly let the older guys ride there.
Oh, that hurts me. That hurts. Talk about the older guys. I remember when you rode this thing on the charity ride and you wore that white rain suit and you looked like the Michelin Man riding that thing.
Well, I wouldn't have mentioned that, but I did.
Listen, thank you for today. It has been a great day. I've learned extra things about Herschel Walker that I didn't know. I always knew that you were the best, that you were just the best. So thank you for doing it. Let's go take these things out.